Hello. I previously I just started a discussion talking about epistemic justification because of two large problems when it comes to stating if you know a proposition or if you're justified to know a proposition. Um, I talked about the epistemic regress problem, and I have a playlist. It's called Epistemology and Philosophy of Mind. If you go there. Um, The epistemic regress problem video will be the most recent one before this one in that playlist. So basically what's going to go on right now is I'm going to discuss the Gettier problem. Because there's a guy, in Edmund Gettier in 1963, he published the three-page paper called Is Justified True Belief Knowledge? I have it pulled up right here, mostly because what he's trying to say here is there's difficulties if you're trying to say that if S knows that P, you are having to you have a lot of stuff has to go down for S to know a proposition. Now these are A, B, and C are three cases where he's saying that these qualifications for S knowing P does not work. For example, S knows that P if and only if P is true, S believes that P, and S is justified in believing that P. That, these the attempts have been made such that they can be stated in a form similar to the following. And then this one is from Roderick Chisholm. S knows that P if S accepts P, and if S has adequate evidence for P, and P is true. And then A.J. Ayer also has S knows that P if and only if P is true, S is sure that P is true, and S has the right to be sure that P is true. What he's saying is that these do not work. These are false because these conditions do not serve to have S's knowledge or justifies knowledge of P, and that there's there is not knowledge there. So what I want to do here is I want to kind of discuss now those aren't the cases, but the Gettier cases are as follows. These are supposed to say that these are supposed to show that they're supposed to compare justified true belief and knowledge. Suppose that Smith and Jones have applied for a certain job, and suppose that Smith has strong evidence for the following conjunctive proposition. D. Jones is the man who will get the job, and Jones has 10 coins in his pocket. Smith's evidence for D might be that the president of the company assured him that Jones would, in the end, be selected, and that Smith, had counted the coins in Jones' pocket 10 minutes ago. And then what is entailed from D is E. The man who will get the job has 10 coins in his pocket. Let us suppose that Smith sees the entailment from D to E and accepts it on the grounds of D, for which he has strong evidence. In this case, Smith is clearly justified in believing that he is true. So what's going on here is we have a little entailment thing here. Now, what the whole case ends up being is Jones is not the man who gets the job, and it's actually Smith is the man who gets the job. And then he says, but imagine further that unknown to Smith, he himself, not Jones, will get the job, and also unknown to Smith, he himself has 10 coins in his pocket. Proposition E is then true through proposition D, from which Smith inferred E is false. In our example, all the following is true. E is true, Smith believes that E is true, and Smith is justifying that believing E is true, but it is equally clear that Smith does not know that E is true, for E is true in virtue of the number of coins in Smith's pocket, while Smith does not know how many coins are in Smith's pocket, and bases his beliefs on E on account of the coins in Jones' pocket, for whom he falsely believes the man who will get the job. So, let's discuss proposition D here. Smith has overwhelming evidence to, and he is assured that Jones will be the man who gets the job. Therefore, the proposition D, Jones is the man who will get the job, and Jones has 10 coins in his pocket. Because of that, he has overwhelming evidence to believe that the proposition D is true. And because of entailment, he infers from D, E, the man who will get the job, has 10 coins in his pocket. But really what happens is his overwhelming evidence. Now, if we go up to the top here, Smith, the proposition E is true, and then S believes that E is true, and S is justified in believing that. But S does not know it, because Smith does not know the proposition E, because E is falsely entailed. It is entailed from a false proposition, because Smith is the one who will really get the job, and not Jones. And Smith really has 10 coins in his pocket, so E is true, and he is justified in believing that E is true. He's totally justified in believing it, but he does not know it, because E was inferred from a false proposition, which he had overwhelming evidence to believe was true. So what Gettier is getting at here is that justified true belief is not knowledge. And he shows this with a further case. He has case 2 here. Case 2, let us suppose that Smith has strong evidence for the following proposition. F. Jones owns a Ford. Smith's evidence to be that Jones has at all times in the past within Smith's memory owned a car and has always owned a Ford, and that Jones has just offered Smith a ride while driving the Ford. Let us imagine now that Smith has another friend, Brown, whose whereabouts he is totally ignorant. Smith selects 3 place names quite at random and constructs the following 3 propositions. Oops. We have 3 propositions here. We have either Jones owns a Ford, or Brown is in Boston. Either Jones owns a Ford or Brown is in Barcelona. Either Jones owns a Ford or Brown is in Brest-Litovsk. Each of these propositions is entailed by F. F being Jones owns a Ford. Imagine that Smith realizes the entailment of each of these propositions, and he is constructed by F and proceeds to accept G, H, and I on the basis of F. Smith has correctly inferred G, H, and I from a proposition which he has strong evidence. Smith is therefore completely justified in believing each of these 3 propositions. Smith, of course, has no idea where Brown is. But imagine that 2 further conditions held. First, Jones does not own a Ford, but is at present driving a rented car. And secondly, by the sheerest coincidence and entirely unknown to Smith, the place is mentioned is proposition H happens to really be the place where Brown is. If these 2 conditions hold, and Smith does not know that H is true, even though H is true, Smith does not believe that H is true. Smith is justified in believing that H is true. These 2 examples show that definition A does not state a significant condition for someone's knowing a given proposition. So we have another thing here which shows that justified true belief can be justified true belief without being knowledge. Because you have the proposition Jones on the Ford, and then he constructs the three propositions, either Jones on the Ford or Brown is in one of 3 places. And it happens to be that Brown is in Barcelona, because he just picked three places at random. So he has justified true belief, but he's not, he has no knowledge of it. So this problem, along with the epistemic regress problem, are a couple problems when you're dealing with justification and knowledge, and which leads to various theories like coherentism, foundationalism, externalism, and internalism, which solve or have solutions for these couple problems, as well as other problems that happen to arise when you accept certain theories such as those. But I will continue to discuss those in a different video.